Hi everyone, welcome to this talk on Odoo's education program. My name is Hélène and I'm responsible for the education program here at Odoo. I am joined today by Valérie and Loic, who are both invited teachers at the Louvain School of Management, and they used Odoo in their class last year, and they're here to tell us a bit more about their experience with Odoo. So let's start by maybe introducing yourself. Valérie, could you tell me more about yourself?
Yeah, so I was invited by the School of Louvain to give the courses in management accounting this year. In the same times, I give the same courses at Solvay and ISEC à Lille. So I like these topics. And in my professional life, I was responsible in finance in a small company in insurance. And so I combined the two things, and I was really good.
Okay. And what about you, Loic?
Well, as you said, I'm Loic. I'm also invited professor at the Louvain School of Management, where I teach two classes. One of them is as an invited professor. One of them is risk management, internal auditing, and internal control. And the other one is management accounting. I also teach at ISEC Business School. And besides my activity as an invited professor, I'm a risk consultant in a consulting firm.
Okay, perfect. So before we really dive into this interview, I suggest that I just briefly introduce what the education program is. So the education program allows teachers to use Odoo, so Odoo Online, for free during 10 months with their students. So basically, teachers can create databases, unlimited numbers of databases, share them with their students, and really incorporate Odoo in their course. So it's really a great way to apply the theoretical knowledge that they teach in class into practice with a business management solution. We also developed in the course of the education program a business game here, Scale Up. And it's a business game that is really interesting for teachers when they want to introduce their students to Odoo. They might not have business cases ready, or they might not be comfortable with Odoo. And so here we created a business game for them that is basically a challenge for their students. So their students are becoming the CEO of their own furniture company. And so they need to learn how to manage and grow their company using a business management software. So here, the game is composed of different challenges. Like you see here on the card, you have the challenge. And challenges are very different. You have challenges like how to set up your retail process, how to grow your company and add a manufacturing line, track your services, create an e-commerce. And so you have different challenges for the students that are all here on the card. And then when you turn the card around, you have the solution on how to do that with Odoo. So the goal is really for them to apply what they learn in school into practice with Odoo. So what we do at Odoo is we share them for free and we ship them for free to teachers. So if you have any question about the game or the education program, really just send us an email at education@odoo.com and we'll send you your free copy of the game. So let's get started with the interview. Loic, maybe could you tell us how did you come up with the idea of including Odoo in your course? Did you know that we had an education program? How did it happen?
So together with Valérie, we brainstormed the idea of putting more practice into theory, especially for a business school. And well, the course of management accounting is built around different topics such as how to make a budget, a business plan, what is performance management, variance analysis, what is cost behavior. So a lot of different topics and very concrete questions that we tend to address in the course management accounting. Well, I had a talk with Fabien Pincars about how to involve a company dealing with managerial accounting topics such as ERP or integrated management systems, and that's how Fabien told me or initiated the idea of playing with that game, Scale Up. I think that it was a great learning experience for the students, especially because management accounting is typically a course which is quite difficult. I've seen many students in the past struggling with that topic because, well, in the end, management accounting is about connecting different disciplines of management sciences, and I think that students see courses in, well, these disciplines in different specific courses, and here the real challenge is how to have that holistic view, big picture view of how an organization runs, and I think that well, playing with that game was a nice introduction for the students.
Okay, and how did you incorporate really the scale-up game in your course? Like concretely, what was it, like an hour of your course? Did you split it? Was it at the beginning, at the end?
Yeah, so we decided to start playing the game just after the general introduction of the course. The reason why we did that is, as I mentioned earlier, the discipline of management accounting might be quite difficult for the student to deal with. So we wanted to break the ice and to help the students develop their intuition of how an organization runs. So we wanted to play the game at the very beginning of the course, so that they can develop that intuition, and they start to realize that, well, maybe management accounting is not that difficult in the end, because it helps tackling or addressing some very specific questions, such as what is the cost of that service or that product? How much do I need to charge for my service, my product? How do I know that I'm reaching my goals? What is the performance of my organization? So it was really about trying to give the student a big picture, an holistic view of the organization, with a sense of developing their intuition. And I think that, well, using Odoo and especially the scale-up game was the perfect fit for that.
Okay, thanks. And I think that Valérie was in charge of the real implementation of the game during the courses. How was it? Like, was it easy for you to understand the game, how to play it with the students, to incorporate that in your course? How did it go? Did you have any support? Did you have any question? How was
Yeah,
it?
that was so easy because I have a good support of the team of Odoo. So she was really nice with us because she explained. She take time to prepare the courses before the courses. She was also present during the courses, and it was really useful because we have more 200 students, and so it's very difficult to have interaction, and also during this COVID period. And so the support of the Odoo team was really good and was really interesting to interact it with some students. As mentioned by Loic, we decided to begin with these courses because it's really important to have a first contact with the ERP, because the students in general have just a lot of management accounting theory concept, but they have no real cases, or maybe a short cases with some example, but not a real ERP that Belgium of international company use, or with really concrete cases. And so that was really interesting for the student to have a real IT tool that, and this tool can be used in the future and with a real environment. And that was totally different when you use a tool like that. And then when you learn the concept, it's really easy. And during all the steps of the courses, we make the links between the courses concept and the cases, and was more interesting for students, more easy to retain some concept also because they see something like that before. And finally, begin without concept and include it step-by-step concept of management. That was we find that more interesting to include it and to construct and build the courses like that.
Okay. And did you have any feedbacks from the students themselves? Were they excited to learn in a practical way? How did it go with them?
Yeah, after the topic, so we have only one courses, so 4 hours, but just one courses. We send a short feedback, and some student give back some information, and in general was really positive because one thing it's funny, so yeah, you take 4 hours to play the game, so it's funny courses. Then they have without quotation, so it's nice. You have a funny game without quotation. It's really nice. And then we have also the possibility to play to make 2 games. So they have interaction, they have questions. So in general, the people was a little bit surprised to have a game of a funny way of learning instead of you have the theory, you do like that and that. So there was a little bit special for them. So the feedback was really positive. The point it's the time is too short because the people have no the same velocity to understand, to work, and that way it was a little bit different for some people. Some people like, some other people it was more difficult or it's too slow. So this is difficult with this point, but for the rest they really like, and they have a good positive feedback on this game.
And I think also the challenge for you was that you had a large group of students all at once, and it was maybe more complex because it's a practical game where you need to play with cards. If everybody, and you were also off like doing this during COVID, so you were not with them; they were at home, from what I understood before we launched the interview. So I think it was a double challenge. Would you think it would have been different if it was a smaller group? Would you think you would have been able to go a little bit further into the game, more challenges or more things that could have been covered? Or
Yeah, I think yes. Honestly, they have two difficult points. First is the COVID atmosphere.
Yeah.
You are behind the screen, so it's very difficult to have interaction, even if the people post the question and we answer, but it's too slow. And the other part, 200 people, it's really difficult to have enough interaction. And we have just the time to do 2 cases, but not full 2 cases. And it's a little bit frustrated because we have no time to answer to all questions, and because the student have additional question, not especially the case, but about the courses, about after the cases. And it was difficult to answer to all question with a so big auditorium. So I think it's better first to be on site, and secondly to have short teams, not especially 20 or 30 person, a big group, but maybe with small classroom of small group to have more interaction with the teacher or with the people of Odoo. That was more interesting for them and less frustrated for all of them.
Okay. And what about you as a teacher? What would you say was the main benefits of using like the scale-up game here? The added value, from what I understood, the fact that it's practical and you can put theory into practice. But I don't know if there's like anything else that you would like to add regarding this as you practiced with your students.
One important thing, it's when you are in Master 1, you have a lot of theoretical courses. And it's maybe the first, not maybe the first, but one of the first time that we have a concrete real life of real environment. And so I think it's really important because now all companies have IT system, have ERP, and this is normal. All companies have one. But when a student begin, sometimes they never see that. And so I think it's really a good thing to approach with funny way and not with rule, but with a funny way approach the methodology and approach a real tools. That was a good, I think, point for the courses. And also when you study, when you learn a lot of concept, it's more abstract. And with this, you have the links because it's a real company. For example, the case buy and sales, it's furniture. At the end of the courses, Loic and me, we decided to create a business plan. So each student create a business plan. And with these tools, the student have the possibility to say, okay, I create my business plan. I do a big report on that. And that I have the tool to put in practice my business plans. And it's another dimension. And like that, I think, because I was student also, you remember more and more the thing, not everything, because management accounting, you learn all the time, but you have the possibility to have some connection and to say, oh, I do that. And so it's more easier to remember the concept and the practice when we are at the study or when we are in the professional life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I can add something to that, I think that the learning by doing is very important, especially for such a class where probably 80 or 90% of the real material is practical oriented, with only 10% or 20% of real theory. So you need to practice management accounting, and I think with playing the game was a good way to achieve that goal.
Okay,
Yeah.
and what would you say to teachers that might be interested in using the Scale Up game here in their class? Is there any advice that you would give them? For instance, now that we know it's maybe a little bit better to do it with a smaller group where you have more interaction, anything else that might be interesting for people that are watching us right now?
One thing, it's they have a lot of cases. The Scale Up, it's not one case. They have a lot of cases. So even if you have your courses and if you have the concept of management accounting, you have the possibility to pick up one of two game, because all game was not possible, but one of two, and you can adapt at your courses. And when you have the time to prepare that, to do that, the Scale Up can be attached to your courses and you give another dimension. And so it's not so difficult to include this in your program. And with the support of the Odoo team, that was really easier to put in place. Honestly, for my part, I don't take much time to include this program in the courses, and I give another special dimension for the student.
Okay. Loic, maybe something to add to finish the interview?
Well,
regarding
I
this?
think that playing the game in the introduction, especially to break the ice, avoid the obstacles, challenges that students might have, was a nice to have. So I would recommend teachers to do that at the beginning. Maybe something that we could have done is to use the case as the game as a common thread during the course, and not a single point in time, even if we developed a specific business plan after using some of the content that was used during the game. But I think that using the Scale Up game more frequently during the year or during the semester, during the time frame that you have, might be something even more interesting.
Okay. Okay, well, thanks for your input. Thanks for joining us today. If you have any question regarding this talk, really do not hesitate to ask them right now. We will get back to you during the Q&A. Thank you very much. Hey everyone, thank you for watching our talk. We are here to answer all of your questions with Valérie, who was in the talk with me. Loic couldn't make it for this Q&A session, so it will just be the two of us. Okay. So first question that I see here is from Carmen. She's asking, did you make all your students create an Odoo database?
Yes, for this application, I have 100 students in the classroom this year, and for all students, they create a profile on the Odoo database. So 10 minutes before the courses, because before it's very difficult, but just at the beginning of the courses, they create the profile on the database. So every student have the possibility to use the Odoo system during 10 months after the courses. So it's really good for them to use them and to try some other exercise. So it's the reason that free profile was created for all students, and also for myself if I want, for the courses, but for each student also.
Yeah, and also it's a little bit easier because if you have all your students logging in on the same platform and everybody's working on the same database, it might be quite messy. If someone makes a mistake, let's say in accounting, it might be very complicated to get back and actually make it happen for the other students to complete the exercise. So we usually recommend that everybody creates their own database. They can work themselves on their own database, of course. And then if they need to update something or whatever, they can do it. If the teacher needs to have an access to the database, they can do that as well and enter the database and check if this is needed. But we suggest that each student has its own database. So second question is, can we use this for interns of the company? What should be the ground from where we pitch this?
For my case, especially, it's for the students. So it's not specially intern, and it's a young student, so they have no internship program in these courses. So it's really used in the concept of university. So I suppose maybe it's possible internally, but in that case, it's really links with the courses of management control. And in that case, it's really used to have a first contact with a company, a first contact with a IT program. So it's not specially to engage people in a company or to create links of with Odoo. It's really to create a links with an IT system about ERP in the first time.
Yes, and also just to add on that, here internally at Odoo, people who start working here, they usually in their onboarding traject, they have to do the scale-up game. It's usually a great way to introduce them to business management, learn how a company works, the different flows. So it could be used for interns if you want to kind of explain simply how a company works, what are the flows, how departments interact. It might be used as well if you're interested in giving them the game. There's no problem with that. So what about English courses? Here, the scale-up game is available in French, in English, and we also created a version in Spanish. So it can be used for English courses, business English. Valérie,
Yeah,
maybe
it's in English, the courses at the university this year.
Okay.
That was easier because it's international students, and so it's easier to have one language, and it's English.
And also for people like English teachers who want to teach business English, learn how do you say like an invoice in English and etc. for their students, it might be used as well. It's not the primary purpose, but it can be used, no problem. Okay, so I'd like to add all my students in only one database. How does it work with the platform of Odoo? You can do it, that's not a problem. You just need to go in the settings of your database and then you can add different users to your database. So if you need more information, just email us at education@odoo.com if you need more help, or we also have an e-learning video explaining how to add users, etc. Is the database suitable for a supply chain course? Yes, it is. We have in the scale-up game, we have also a business cases on supply chain. So of course you can use that and you can add all the supply chain modules that might be interesting for you on the database. The database, they are free for teachers. Teachers can add as many modules as they would like. They can select. Here it was
Yeah, we select only the topic about sales and buy because at the end of the courses we decided to create a business plan when they create a product and they sold this product. So in that case, we choose the scale up specially on the product and on the creation of product, creation of company with a production and with a selling at the end. So we have the choice of different product and we take this one because especially with the courses of management control. And to answer to one of the question, it's effectively we have a big class this year, but in that is better if one thing to be improved, a short small classes, 20-30%, that was easier to have a good interaction with the student, because when it's too big, it's very different because the student have different level and it's very difficult to follow all of them. So a short group, 20-30%, that will be great with one of two teacher, one for example myself and one of Odoo. That was really good to interactive with all students.
Yeah. Okay. I think we have, oh, here. No, okay, we have all the questions here. Maybe one more question for you. What would you improve in the scale-up game? Is there anything that you wish that we had added in the game, or that you would like us to include maybe for future uses?
One thing, it's during 1 or 2 hours that was easier to follow the cases because they have 1 or 2 example, but to continues to make some exercise of to continues on the platform, that is good if you have additional exercise, because if you went 1 or 2 you have immediately the solution behind, but at the end for the student to do some exercise, to practice some thing, they have no real correction of helping to do them, so they was a little bit alone. So that will be great if they have additional example to help the student during the courses and after the courses. That is one point that but okay, this is so big thing, but for the end they have a lot of different examples, but inside they have maybe 1 or 2 example only by cases, but it's one point to be improved. But for the rest, this is also something they can use by the student during the business plan that we make at the end, and that was great to have a connection between the business plan theory aspect and the Odoo practice aspect. This is a good links, not so easy to do the both together, but in practice, if you adapt a little bit the courses, you can have links between the two.
Okay. I think that's it for the questions. Thank you very much for watching our talk, asking all of your questions. If you have any additional questions that you would like to ask, just email us at education@odoo.com and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.